Morning. I'm going to do some more checks on the sidecar side of the wheel to determine whether I can get this clunking noise resolved. So the first test is going to be a retorque of the sidecar swing arm. I'll be using a torque wrench set at 88 Newton meters per the spec, and also a 19mm socket. We'll see how we go. Okay, back again. We have a 19mm spanner for this end, and we're going to continue to torque at this end. Getting a bit on it. I'm getting a fair bit on this, I don't know whether. There you go. The chocked front and rear, we're currently up on the jack. Sidecar wheel's off and free to turn. I've just taken the cap off, and as you can see everything's still pretty pristine in there, so we'll see what else we can find when I get the pliers out and get rid of that pin, undo it and see what we got. For this phase of the checks, I'm looking to identify not only was there correct torque on the swing arm, but I understand there's a wearable washer inside of there, and I also want to check exactly whether or not the wheel is tight enough. From what I can feel, it seems to be okay. Minimal movement, in fact almost zero movement. Zero movement there that I can tell, but I'll still keep going with it. Okay, so I'm going to 27mm socket. We'll see how tight this is. Tight. I'll have to drop it down a bit. Maybe. Drop it down off the jack to get some traction to undo it. There you go. That's now undone. Nut is almost off. I'll leave that there for the moment till I get it back up again. Alright, I'm off the ground. Put those bits over there. As you can see, there's little sign of any issues around that bearing. I'll pull it off and we'll see what happens. Perhaps I won't be pulling it off until I... Okay, the brake caliper was removed with the aid of a 17mm socket. Let's see if we can get this wheel off now. Easy. Okay. So that is off. And the inside of it looks to me to be pretty okay. Reasonable grease, nothing's out of place, doesn't look like any overheating or anything like that. This looks fine. I will check the 6 cap screws around the spline arrangement, just to make sure they're intact and ain't going to go anywhere. The spline on the axle side could be a little bit dry, but there was plenty of lubrication in its mating half on the wheel. The axle itself looks pretty good. There's no scoring, bugger all damage or suggestion that things may be a little untoward there. Further checks required. Okay, here is the wear part that comes from up in the guts of the axle spline, for want of a better word. It doesn't show any appreciable wear, but I'll give it a measure up and see what its current measurement thickness wise is. Yep, it is bang on 4mm in thickness. So I'll just put a bit of grease on it and shove it back in again the way it is. Also put another dab of grease onto that Molly Grease EP Dingy 3%. Probably as good as any. Okay, back on you go. More on the spline. Bit of a coating on the axle to prevent any unwanted corrosion. checking the tension on the spline hub in the wheel. Should be set at 30 Newton meters. So far it's clicking off at that. I think, well, I only found one that took a little bit more. And that's that one. But they're all snug at 30 Newton meters now. So there's nothing wonky in there that I can see. Nothing in there that I can see. This matching, the spline might be a little bit dry, but before I put this back on again, about the only thing I haven't checked, and you'll notice there's I re-greased that. I think you can see it, but anyhow, it's got a good dollop of grease in it now. It was a wee bit dry, but I had to grease its partner up as well, but I figured I'll do that one too. The only thing I haven't looked at and haven't checked would require that I beat the axle out completely to determine how much grease is on those drive splines that are in there, but I'm not convinced it's a drive problem. Anyway, I do understand about things being under load and that sort of thing, but to that I would say things are not constantly under load. They are dynamic, depending on road surface, and if you get in a whole mess of pretty serious corrugations, then the load is far from constant, in my opinion, because half the time the wheel's in the bloody air. Because of the corrugations, and there's a loading and an unloading force all the time. Anyway, we can talk about that, but I'm running out of options here in relation to what this problem might be. The wheel nut seems to have a very thin, I think it's an aluminium washer. I haven't, it just feels very light. And it measures exactly 1 millimetre in thickness. Can't find any torque values for this wheel nut, so I guess it's just tight. I forgot to mention there is only one drilling for a split pin, or a cotter pin, or whatever you want to call it. So I guess you can only get as tight as you can get and still line up the castellation for the split pin. What David had said from Ural in relation to pulling the bearing halves and everything through and utilising the wheel and the axle nut to do that job for him. I'm not in that position. I've already got a set of bearings and so on in there, which, by the way, feel very good. They don't have a problem with them turning. That noise you hear is the caliper that I haven't yet put on, but from day one those bearings have felt fine. There is no hesitation in them. It's not to say someone won't pull them out and find them to be crappy, but I don't believe my judgment's that bad. Anyhow, be that as it may, I can't find a torque. I'm just going to do it up as best I can. I might go for probably, I don't know, I'll try for 88, the same as the swing arm mounts. It depends on where that leaves me with the hole for the split washer. I let it down, so I've got a bit of bite somewhere. In a minute, maybe I'll put this bit of wood under it. box 88. Where is my split pin hole? We got, get out my light, new split pin in. And ready to put the cap on. No, I'm not. I've got to do that cap again. No, I haven't got room. Yeah, bastard. Okay. Have to go with a shorter. Well, it still turns. That's a good sign. Put the cap back on. Well, that's pretty well it. My rudimentary investigations have failed to reveal very much. In summary, I got a little bit more on the sidecar swing arm, greased up some splines, checked the wearable washer, and it was all okay. Just made some observations about what was what. Appears to be no sign of bearing wear or damage, no sign of overheating, all the grease was good. It's basically back as found. Okay, I just found a little of something of what might be the cause of what's going on. Loose mud guard. Both mounting bolts loose. So we'll give them a tighten up and see what happens.